Today is Tuesday, March 31st, and today we have Keegan Ziemer on to talk about Wisconsin's proposed hunting changes. All right, welcome to the Fall Podcast. This is episode 107, and today on the podcast I have Keegan Ziemer. He's a coworker of mine. He's been on a couple other podcasts, but he is a Wisconsin native, and Wisconsin recently just proposed some, I guess you could say, rule changes that they want to bring to a meeting on April 13th, I believe, for all of Wisconsin natives and hunters. And, you know, I don't want people that aren't from Wisconsin or don't hunt Wisconsin to turn this off, because I feel like it's important for everybody to hear. The reason being is because this could happen to your state. I mean, Michigan's going through a lot of changes right now, and we have been for the last couple of years, but I think this could happen to any state, a lot of these, or things around this nature. But this podcast is a lot of like Keegan and I's opinion on how it would affect us. You know, he's grown up in Wisconsin, but I kind of taken into the fact that, like, if this was happening to Michigan, how I would, you know, go about it, or, you know, let my voice be heard also, because some of these are just out there. But it's pretty cool. And for also, you know, I wanted to let people know that do hunt Wisconsin and do live in Wisconsin that do hunt. I wanted them to be aware of this as well, because we do have a pretty darn good following in Wisconsin. We've got a lot of listeners over there, so I thought it'd be cool for them to hear this as well if they have not heard it yet. It's a good one. We go through, I think, 8 or 9, I believe, different proposed changes. There's more than that, but we picked out the ones that, you know, were whitetail hunting related, so that's what we focused on, and it was a pretty good conversation. So Justin is not with me today, but he will be back soon. Also, just want you guys to know that I appreciate all the support. Please go to iTunes and leave a rating if you would, and leave some feedback. I always say it, but please, that helps out a lot. So I'm going to leave it short and sweet. Going to get to this interview with Keegan, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay, we are hot, and we're back here for another episode of the Fall Podcast. And I'm by myself today. I do have a guest, but Justin is not with me. And today I have my coworker, Keegan Ziemer, on. Keegan's been on a couple of the podcasts already, so a lot of people will probably remember his sultry voice. And we're going to have a good conversation today. I'm excited about this one.
Thanks for having me, and for the compliment on my voice again.
Well, we are in like day, I don't know, 7 or 10 or something like that, quarantine. We are working from home, and we have been for the last, 7-8 days. So pretty crazy with the world that we're living in right now. But we got a couple adult beverages, and I want to talk about some Wisconsin stuff. And basically, whoever's listening to this, if you don't hunt Wisconsin and you don't live in Wisconsin, I don't want you to turn this off. This is going to be a good conversation for, whatever state you hunt, because everybody has, can voice their opinion and has a take on that. And this is, what we're going to get into today. And the posts that I make on, Instagram or Facebook about this episode, I'd love for everybody to comment on, some of these things that we're going to talk about, with your opinion. I'd really like to hear your opinion.
I think the reality is that it could, any of these could potentially come to your state or be up for a bid in your state at some time or another too. So though they may not be valid at the moment, it could potentially happen, in the future.
100%. And that's why, us in Michigan, some of these we're kind of dealing with right now as well. So I agree 100% with what you said. It can happen to any one of these states. And basically what we're going to talk about today is Wisconsin is proposing some new changes to their whitetail seasons, and a lot of them are pretty eyebrow raising. And I wanted to get a hold of you, and you and I have been kind of talking about it for the last couple weeks anyway, because you have grown up in Wisconsin your whole life, hunted there your whole life. Now, I mean, you're imported to Michigan now, but you still do have a big say on this, and I really wanted to pick your brain on it. And, that, I guess you said you were welcome to do that, so I can't wait to do it.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's a good conversation regardless. I'm sure we'll get some people that disagree with what I say, and that's totally fine. But I think that's the point of this too, is just to have a good conversation about it and get some feelings on it. So
For sure. So what we're gonna do? I don't know how many proposed changes were there.
there's 18, but
18?
The first 7 don't pertain to deer. They're waterfowl based. So
Okay, so we're gonna hit a few of these. We're not gonna probably be able to get to all of them, but we do have a few signaled out here that we're pretty passionate about, and I know you are as well. And I might even throw my opinion a little bit in on some of these, just on how I feel like it would affect me and our hunting in Michigan if it was to happen. And like I said, like you said, and I, like, this isn't the Bible, it's just our opinion.
Far from it.
Yeah, and this isn't like a debate or anything. This is just kind of just talking, just bullshitting and talking over some of these things, because this can be real for any state. So
yeah. And these are, I guess I would say too, if you're listening and you're from Wisconsin, biding, or depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks with the situation that we're all in with this quarantine and everything, there's supposed to be meetings in each county, all 72 counties, on April 13th that you can go to and voice your opinion. So they're up for discussion on it right now. So
yeah, and I mean, if you do listen to this, that might be, and you've maybe never even heard of these proposed changes, so maybe this is a good way for you to go to one of these meetings and sit in and listen and let your voice be heard too. So that's a good point.
Yeah, and I think you can do it online too. I'm sure if not, they're probably going to do something with that, given the circumstances at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
I think I did read that when I was reading up on all this stuff, is they were going to do an online, I don't know what they were calling, online meeting or something like that. So I think everybody can get involved with it that way, I believe. So
yeah.
Well,
and
cool.
I think you should do that if you can. So
yeah, for sure. Well, let's kick this off, and I've got a lot of notes here, and I know you do as well. I'm just gonna read the first one off and get it kicked off here. So the first one that I want to talk about is extending the firearm season to 19 days instead of the regular 9-day season. So, and a fun fact that I read while I was looking all this stuff up is Wisconsin actually has the shortest, I believe it was the shortest rifle or firearm season in the country, and I did not know that. So as of right now, it starts on November 23rd and goes to December 1st. So what they're saying is they want propose a change of extending the firearm season to 19 days. So what are your thoughts on that? And giving everybody a perspective of where it falls. So it's going to fall right around that Thanksgiving time, like it usually does.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yep. So the Wisconsin gun season always starts the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is obviously kind of a swing holiday. It's, the third Thursday, fourth Thursday in November.
Yep.
So it can change. The date of opener can change, but right now it's 9 days, and I guess this one for me, I would vote no on it. And there's a couple reasons, couple notes that I had down there. The one is just, you're more than doubling it. So the one thing that I'd like to see if they're going to do something like this is a data estimation. I'm assuming that this is to get new hunters involved, or potentially take a couple more deer out of the herd, but without a figure of, if we add 10 additional days, what are they projecting for license sales, and what are they projecting for a number of deer that would be harvested in that time? I guess for me, where I'm struggling with it a little bit at the moment is it, and again, this, I know statistics, I believe, are saying a little bit differently. License sales are declining. The last couple of years, we've had harvest numbers that are on the decline as well. So in what I've seen firsthand among myself, family, friends, is it has to be the last probably 5 to 7 years. It seems like, especially opening weekend, continues to get slower and slower and slower. So for me, I think that, I think that right now the herd in Wisconsin is probably in a decent spot, but I think it could be better. And I think opening it up longer really isn't going to bring in the benefits that were that they're talking about. It potentially could, extended for people to hunt it longer. I don't think that'll happen. I think that there's, you have 2 weekends right now. You have a full week. After that, you have muzzleloader season. You have a holiday hunt. So if it's something where you're looking to fill your freezer, you have plenty of time in a lot of these counties and areas that you can still go out and take a doe. So there's plenty of time that you can spend in the woods after that. Our archery season runs well into January. So I guess in my mind, without an understanding of how it could impact the herd, like I said, more than doubling the season, I think 9 days is, though it may be the shortest in the country, I still feel like that's a good amount of time. But I will say I might be biased here because I'm an archery hunter at heart. And for me, the gun season is something that I do with my friends and family, and it's a tradition. So that might be some of why I don't want to see it change. Is just, it's short, it's sweet, and it's how it's always been. And I think that's kind of what makes it special, is it's those 2 weekends and the time in between. So,
Yep. And, coming from a guy from Michigan, you and I are one and the same. I'm an archery hunter at heart as well, but I do love to gun hunt. Like I do
get
enjoy
excited
it.
about it.
Yeah, you do. And you and I grew up in 2 states that are very traditional when it comes to hunting and deer camps and stuff like that. And,
Yep.
the 30 point buck song and all that, all that stuff. And so right now, Michigan season is 15 days. Firearm season is 15 or 16 days, something like that. It happens on the 15th every year, and it ends on, it's either the 30th of December or November, or it's something right there. It's like 15 or 16 days. I don't know why. I don't know that right offhand, but. And I don't want to sound like a jackass either to just all the gun hunters out there that really aren't bow hunters, and I don't have anything against that, because it's like
they're still a hunter.
Yeah.
You still want them in the sport,
100%.
even if you are just a gun hunter.
Yep.
I mean, I still want you in the sport. I want you to be, doing your part, and I'd rather have you here than not. So.
I agree, and what I guess I'm getting at is, I feel like ours, 15 days, I feel like it's kind of long. I don't think it's like too long, but what I would like to see Michigan do is go to like, because something I did read with the Wisconsin thing is, a lot of people, the season goes throughout the week, and a lot of people don't get to hunt that week, so they're only really getting like 3 or 4 days during the weekend. Well, my whole combat to that is like, why don't you have 2 or 3 different gun seasons that are only like 3-day long periods that happen on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the next weekend, a Friday, something like that. Or my only thought was for Michigan is, let's start, let's move it from the 15th to start whenever Thanksgiving falls, because usually all the families, people got time off of work, and all the families usually get together, and it's a big, I know it's a holiday, but it usually Thanksgiving only lasts, 1 or 2 days. And you can usually get out in the morning or afternoon those days. And, families are together, go out and hunt. You get a long extended weekend. So do that weekend and then do the following weekend, and, maybe be done with it. And then it could be around 9 days. And right. It combats the, we have to go back to work on the week. So
right.
That's kind of how I would kind of combat it. But I don't know.
I like that, actually. I think that would be a kind of a neat idea, especially since, like you're saying, I think a lot of people are kind of forced to be weekend warriors. So why not give them opening weekend, I could see opening it up for potentially one more weekend beyond that after it closes.
Yeah.
They get opening weekend, you get Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, give the deer a week, and then, that following, call it Friday, Saturday, Sunday again.
Yep. Yeah, so I think that would be my combat to it. And not that I have a problem with it, but Michigan season, starts the 15th. And so it's like, it's a double-edged sword. You know, the bow hunters, the diehard bow hunters are like, oh, the gun season is coming in like right at heart of the rut. And then the gun hunters are like, oh, yes, it's coming right at the heart of the rut, you know. Because in Michigan, when the November 15th hits, at least in my experience, bow season is like, if you can kill a good buck after the 15th with your bow, I mean, you've got a pretty unique situation. So it's like, you know, it's 6 half one dozen the other. So it's either like it's almost like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. Which I hate saying that, but because I do enjoy gun hunting, but like I said, I'm a bow hunter at heart. So I don't know. That would be my propose to it. 19 days or 20 days or whatever it was is really long, so long.
I guess you know you guys have longer season here. I haven't gun hunted here yet, but and I know that you're in a different position right now where you're not really able to hunt all of it. But I would say your experience, your friends, your family, whatever. How many people realistically take advantage of those 15 days? Like if it were a 15-day, 19-day season, how many people here that you know of really take full advantage of that? Like is there going to be a huge difference in doubling it? Yes, people may get an extra day here and there, but
right. No, I agree what you're saying. That's why I was thinking like
give them the weekends. Like give them 3 weekends, 3-day weekends. And I know, you know, Friday, you know, a lot of guys could probably get out a little early on Fridays, but give them the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then another Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then another Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But if you started on Thanksgiving, you know, you usually have Thursday off, Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday off. So you got the first weekend started on Thanksgiving. And you get 4 days right off the bat there that you know you're going to be, you know, don't have to take any time off of work. So, yeah. I mean, I think if you're going to do anything, do the 9 days and then give them a break and do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I would be okay with that. You're talking 9 to 12 there.
Yep.
So it's a compromise.
Cool. Well, we're kind of beating that dead horse, but I do want to get into the next one that kind of goes hand in hand with this. So we did just talk about extending the firearm season to 19 days. So the next one would be prohibiting hunting to shut down. So basically hunters would have to shut down 2 to 5 days leading up to that November gun season. So you could not hunt at all, right? Am I reading that right? Like bow season, nothing. So like 2 to 5 days. Yep, except for waterfowl, you could not hunt. So they give you a couple of choices. A, have a 2-day rest. B, have a 5-day rest. Or C, have no change. So what is your take on that? Would you, if that was proposed change where, a 19-day season, extending that or extending it to 19 days, would you want to take those days off?
Yeah. So I think this one is regardless of 19 or 9. So I think they're proposing that separately. For me, I would still say C, no change. But I would be okay with a 2-day rest period. And the reason that I'm saying C, no change, and I think, this may differ a little bit, and some residents may disagree with me. The past 4 years, I've come from as a non-resident, as I know a lot of other gun hunters potentially do. So you're talking a lot of people from Illinois that come up to hunt gun season, things like that. And when I've come in a day or two early, if I can bring my bow and hit the stand the night before or 2 nights before, I like to try to do that. It's kind of, I like to think of it like a baseball game. You're talking 9th inning, you know what I mean? It's the rut. It's the chance to get out and make it happen before gun season, hits and deer start to, their patterns change, things like that. So it just adds a little bit to it. And I think honestly on that front, it's like you almost incentivize somebody who's a non-resident to potentially buy an archery tag, because you could come and take advantage of it a day or two before you're there. I mean, it's, as you know, it's a big deal. So if there's people that are coming from out of state, a lot of times they're getting there a day or two ahead of time to make camp and things like that. So if they have the opportunity to get out and take advantage of something like that, I don't think take it away. But that being said, if you are going to do it, I would go for the 2-day. I think 5-day is too much, and you're cutting so much into the time of some prime rut hunts that you could be having, in a tree stand with a bow in the hand. And I'm just not willing to give that much time up.
I can definitely see your point on being a non-resident coming to Wisconsin, but
Mhm.
being a resident, if that was a Michigan thing, I would totally vote no change, and I would do a hard stance on that. I just think, you're talking taking a rest, like you said, potentially in what could be prime rut, prime hunting, and I just can't see a lot of hunters going for that. And honestly, I was trying to read a little bit up on this. I really don't even know why they were proposing this. Did you get anything on why they're proposing a rest?
Yeah. So it's the verbiage here is restoring a 2-day or 5-day prior to the 9-day firearm season to reduce hunting pressure in order to increase excitement and anticipation for the premier hunting opportunity of the year.
Okay.
So I guess when I kind of read that, it's like the premier hunting opportunity of the year. They're putting gun season
Right
on a pedestal.
Yep, they are. And
So,
the reason being is because it gets a lot more revenue, probably. I
right.
mean, there's towns in Michigan and the UP that run off of opening day rifle season. That's why I feel like Michigan's gun season will never change from November 15th. Because if you do move it to Thanksgiving, and I won't sit too long on this topic because we just got done with it, but if you do move it to Thanksgiving, that could be pushing a lot of people out of those little towns. Or on the other hand, it could be pushing a lot of people in. So it's like, it's a very fine line. But I get that part. I get, raising that excitement. But here, I'm part of a deer camp that we've been, there's 11 guys part of it. I think there's 11 of us. We have, we built a cabin back in 2001. We've been hunting the property. My dad and his, one of his best friends have been hunting it since the 70s. I'm a blood relative to the farm owners. So that's where I cut my teeth. But the thing is our bow season goes all the way through. So we can hunt with a bow during rifle season. So the thing is like that, I've never seen anybody not be excited because of it was still bow season. We have some older guys that don't bow hunt anymore that do hang their head on opening day and opening weekend and rifle season. But still, the camaraderie has not been lost. The excitement has not been lost. So I haven't really seen that. So I would just have to vote C, no change for me.
Right. Well, one thing too, before you move on, is like, as a bow hunter, what you're going for anyway is to get in and get out without applying pressure. So
right.
I mean, that's the goal anyway, is to reduce your pressure. It's not like you're going out there and trying to pressure the deer. And I would argue that, you get all these people that come for their gun season. It's the only thing that they do that year. Well, what do most people do the day or two before the season starts? They drive out on a 4-wheeler to their hunting stand, their gun stand,
put their heater in,
clean it out from the year before. It's like, that's pressure.
Yep.
So, it's same thing. 6 in one, half dozen in the other, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one, would be the lottery tag. Now, I'm going to kind of let you read this one. I don't have the question in front of me. I just have a note that says lottery tag. I didn't get a lot of information on this one, so if you have that one right in front of you, why don't you hit me with that one?
Okay. Yeah, let me read this one. Okay. So number 9 here. Do you support the department working with legislature to establish a special raffle or lottery where the winners would receive several otherwise difficult to draw tags and authorizations, and the proceeds would go to wildlife habitat management and restoration in Wisconsin? On that one, I don't know what the hard to draw tags in Wisconsin would be, other than probably bear. We just opened an elk season, so I guess that would probably be another one, which is unsure why this is on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they can show where the funding and everything is going to go, making sure that all of that is going back to wildlife habitat management and restoration, I'd be all for it. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's people who can pay to put in for that, and are, all of that money is going toward conservation and restoration, like, by all means, do it.
That's exactly where I sit on it. If you can show me where it all goes and that it's going back to conservation, because I mean, when people say hunters are the biggest conservationists, it's, and a lot of people antis, or a lot of people that don't hunt, don't realize that, like, buying tags and buying gear and buying all that stuff is, like, that goes to conservation. A lot of that does. I mean, when you go to Cabela's or Bass Pro, they always ask you if you want to donate $1 or something
Round
to
up.
conservation. Yeah, round up. So always round up, and you're doing that. So I agree. Anything that you can help towards that, and I know where it's going, and it's going to conservation, I'm all for it. So I agree with you on that one.
Right.
All right, easy one there. Let's move to number 8. This one's kind of unique. So the note that I have is eliminating water sources because they are considered bait. You might have the more formal question in front of you, but basically, in a nutshell, that's kind of what they're saying, right?
Yep. Restricting placement of artificial water sources that are not for agricultural purposes.
Did they list
in CWD affected counties?
Okay,
That's
so
another part
only
of it,
in CWD affected counties.
Yep.
So they're saying, like, a kiddie pool, or a water trough, or something that, like a horse trough that you can bury or something. Are they saying, is it specify in there about, like, building, like, a little pond or a water hole out of the earth, like digging it out?
No, it doesn't. So it says would not restrict the use of bird baths, ponds, or other naturally occurring sources of water, but rather plastic or metal tubs that are used for non-agricultural purposes.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, that's another one where it's like, I can understand it in a CWD area. This one I was kind of up in the air on. Still don't know that I have a super definitive answer. I think I can argue it either way. But I'm sure you could probably, if you bury a clay tub in the ground, does that get you around plastic and metal? So I feel like it may still happen. And this is going to be in areas where it's already CWD, and you're talking in a place where you don't have water. So I don't know. My gut on this one says if bowing to a biologist on this one, if they're as worried about CWD as it seems like they are in both Michigan and Wisconsin, then do what you have to do here. I think that deer will find a natural place to find water, although I do like being able to supplement them with that, if you don't have it. So
I agree.
That part, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for me. I had question marks next to this one because I don't know.
I agree too, because like you said, we are hunters. Yes, we like to pursue deer and ultimately harvest them for their meat, and eat, and because we like that, and we so also with that being said, I also like to, in a weird kind of way this sounds probably, but I like to, it's like kind of giving a dog water, your pet dog water in a way. It's like you don't want them to suffer by any means, and they'll find water, don't get me wrong, but then once you put in the fact that, like, if you've spent a lot of your money to buy a piece of property or lease a piece of property, and your hobby or your one of your passions is to hunt and be a conservationist, and you don't have water on there, like, and that is one thing that will help draw deer there, whether it's for viewing purposes or it's for getting the meat and preserving it and harvesting the animal. Like, I like doing that. I like to be able to improve the land, basically, is the long version I wanted to get to saying that. I want to improve the land, and I want to make it a better place, not only for deer, but for birds and, and woodchucks and, like, all that kind of stuff, like all the animals. So I'm in the same boat there with that as you are. I get what they're saying about the CWD. It seems to me, though, like, as of recent, and I don't mean just because COVID-19 is going, or whatever COVID-19 is going on, but like you don't hear about CWD anymore, and I live in a CWD state just like you do.
Yeah.
I haven't heard hardly anything at all about it. So I wonder what that whole thing is, because last year and the year before it was a huge uproar in Michigan.
Right.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm on the same train you are on that one.
And one thing here too, so I guess maybe two different things to think about here is I've never done it before, so I guess I don't know, but I feel like if you're gonna consider that baiting to sit over a water source, you're gonna be spending a lot of time doing that. Like, it's not like putting out corn or apples and deer. I can't imagine it's works as well as that. You know what I mean? Where you put out water and then you're like, okay, now I just have to sit over my little kiddie pool for the night, and I'm going to see deer like you would with a pile of corn on most nights.
Right.
And so I guess the same thing there, even in a CWD unit, I would still like to see potentially, and again, I know that this is to stop the spread of a disease. So I do understand that, but I guess I was going to say maybe they could do something where you can't hunt over it, but that still defeats the purpose of trying to keep deer from coming to a communal area.
Yep.
So
and that's the biggest
like
thing
I
they're worried
said, it goes
about.
circles on this one. So
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's tough.
It is tough.
It's water though.
It is water. We need it to live.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, they're just saying, it's bringing deer to a certain area, a concentrated area where they're passing saliva on. I get it. So,
right.
All right, moving on. Number 11, eliminating the 4-day antlerless season in December. What do you think about that?
So this one is based on this is saying if they extend the season 10 days, then are we good to take out the antlerless hunt? So my answer to this one is a simple yes. If you're going to extend 10 days onto the current firearm season, then I don't think it's needed anymore.
I agree.
You already got 10 extra days. You don't need the 4 that are already built in there. So
yep, easy one. I agree with that. Moving on, let me see here. I know I'm skipping around a little bit, but okay, so number 13. I don't know if you have that up right there.
Yep.
So do you support restoring emphasis on Wisconsin's firearm deer hunting opportunity by not having an archery tag during firearm season? Basically, they're saying taking away the archery tag during firearm season, right? So you wouldn't be able to hunt with a bow or a crossbow?
I believe so. And if I'm incorrect in interpreting this one, then nobody on here jump Aaron and I about it.
Don't kill the messenger.
That's how I'm interpreting it. So it says currently archery and crossbow hunting does not close during the traditional either sex firearm deer season. So they can still fill their bow buck harvest authorization with a bow or crossbow during any firearm season that allows buck harvest, because the season run concurrently. So it's saying you go out there on opening day with your gun tag, kill a buck, you go back out with your bow and then kill another buck with your bow. They're asking if I support not allowing that anymore, and my answer to that one would be no. I mean, it's out for me. It's like it's the lesser caliber. If you can go out with a bow and take a deer during gun season, you have to wear orange. You have to do all that stuff. It's a lesser caliber. So for me, it's plain and simple. It's, what's the advantage? You have no advantage.
Right. So tell me this. Can you, right now in Wisconsin, kill 2 bucks with your gun in Wisconsin?
No.
You cannot. Okay. Can you kill 2 bucks in one day? So that might answer the same question.
Again, this is my interpretation of how it currently is. So again, if I'm wrong, I have never done that before. I have never killed 2 bucks in one day before. So put that out there. But my interpretation is that yes, you could go out with your gun
in the morning and kill one with a gun, and then go out at night and kill one with a bow.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe that's correct. But again, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. So coming from Michigan, you can kill 2 bucks with a gun or with a bow. And you can kill, like, let's say you go out bow hunting one night, you can kill 2 bucks in that one night. Like you can kill one and the other one can walk in, you can and take that one as well. Same with a gun.
It's crazy.
So it is, yeah. So they're saying, eliminating the ability to use a bow during firearm season. I would have to agree with you. Like, I wouldn't want that because, let's say opening day I go out and I'm able to harvest a buck with my gun.
Mm-hmm.
That means if the season is 9 days or if it is like 19 days, I can't hunt for the next.
Done.
You're done. So I don't like that. And like you said, you have to still, obey the laws, and wear orange and do everything like you're gun hunting, which is totally understandable, but I don't like being done for that long. And I know a lot of people say you can travel out of state, which you and I do get the ability to do that, but a lot of people out there don't have that mindset or just really don't care to do that. Oh yeah, just don't want to. So
right.
I can't, I don't want to take the opportunity out of hunters' hands, really, in my eyes. So
yeah, no, I agree. And I think that so here in Michigan, you guys are the 2 buck, and Nebraska is the same way, where you can shoot 2 with a bow, and I believe 2 with a gun, or 1 of each. Your buck tag, you get 2 of them regardless of the season. And even that, I mean, that one's a tough one for me. Like sometimes I think that'd be really cool. Like if you are a diehard archery hunter and you have your opportunity early on, opening weekend or something, knowing that you can still hunt with a bow for the remainder and then have it through gun season. So
for sure,
I just don't think that you should be taking a tag from. Again, like I said, it's a lesser caliber. Like you're at a disadvantage by using a bow during gun season.
Right. Yep. I agree. Moving on. So next one is, I believe, number 14, limiting the crossbow season to only October and restarting it after November gun season ends. So the season runs from mid-September to early January right now. So, and also 60-year-olds and disabled permits can use a crossbow all season. So what they're saying is limiting the crossbow season to only October, so October 1 through October 31st, and then restarting it after the November gun season ends. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So this one I will say over the past couple of years, I've changed and I've grown. I'm going to call it grown on. My answer is no. And probably the main reason for that is, my brother would probably be it, actually. So he had it where, when we were like 12, I was 12, or when he was 12, you're young, he lost a couple deer, got discouraged and put down the bow for a while, probably 2-3 years. And then eventually has picked up a crossbow, and at least that keeps him going to the woods, So for me, I used to be completely against crossbow. Like I was like, if you're not disabled or you can't pull back a bow, then you shouldn't be out in the woods with a crossbow. That's just how I used to look at it. And now I think it's kind of, like I said, I've changed my opinion on it. I would rather just see people out in the woods, with the one caveat that's like, I just hope that people aren't out there taking ridiculous shots with a crossbow. I've seen, like I said, my brother has a crossbow. My stepdad has a crossbow. He just turned 60. And, before that, he struggled with pulling back a bow a little bit. So it's like, again, I don't want to see a season being taken away from people. Like I'd rather see people get out in the woods and enjoy that. And again, I said the caveat there, and it's no different with an archery hunter. You shouldn't be taking a shot that you're not comfortable with. Doesn't matter if you're, staring down the biggest deer of your life and he's out there at a further distance. That's one thing that I hope that, if you're a father, brother, whatever, mother, anybody out there, that's, just check each other. And I think don't take it away, but just, guys, please don't be out there making stupid shots, because that's what gives people the bad name, whether you're shooting a crossbow or a compound bow or anything. So
yep. And I agree with you there. I went through the same thing. Like, I used to be against the crossbow thing. Like, if you're fully capable to hunt with a compound bow, then you need to. Like, that was my thought process. Where I have an issue is where you're fully capable with shooting a compound, but you make comments like, I want to be able to shoot farther, so I'm going to shoot a crossbow. That's when I have an issue.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't like that.
Because I've heard that within inner circles around me. I'll just leave it at that. I've heard that. So it's like, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. When I was growing up, when I first started, shooting a bow, like, I honestly didn't even really know a crossbow existed. My dad got me shooting a compound at a very young age, and that's all I ever shot. So that's that was my mindset. And I have a daughter, and hopefully one day she'll want to gravitate towards it and take up hunting. If not, I mean, to each their own, whatever she wants to do. But I'm kind of fighting with myself right now. Like, do I just kind of start her with a crossbow just to get her enjoying it? She has a vertical bow right now, a little compound that I can help her pull back, and she loves shooting it. So I'm just going to kind of keep doing that for a while, and if she does gravitate towards it, then maybe we won't even have to do the crossbow. So, but I agree with you. Like, I don't really want to take an opportunity out of, away from anybody. My dad is, in his 60s now, and he's still shooting a vertical bow, and he does kind of have a not the greatest shoulder. I commend him for still shooting a vertical bow. So that's awesome. But when you're in it for the wrong reasons, like you said, I'm not for that. I don't like it. Be smart out there, no matter what weapon you're shooting. So I agree with you.
100%. 100%.
The next one is a controversy in just about every state, I feel like. I think it's 16, and it's the baiting ban. So what's your take on this? Now, what is, I just have ban baiting. What is the formal question they're asking there?
So it is prohibit baiting and feeding of deer statewide. So it says baiting and feeding deer is banned in 52 of the 72 counties right now. The past 2 years, 25 have been added to the list of counties after new CWD detections in wild or captive deer.
Okay. So they're saying statewide, get rid of it. So what's your take on it?
So for me on this one, I actually said no. And the reason I said no was just thinking that, and I didn't look which 20 counties are the ones that haven't added it, but I think you could probably empathize with this too, but I think of like the northern part of Wisconsin, similar to the UP here. And I think of how much snow they get. They have wolves up there. And I just said that counties probably, they should know that their deer populations, deer herds best. So if it's a tough winter and they need to feed deer, people need to feed deer up there to keep them alive through the winter, then I say leave it to a county decision. Don't throw a blanket statement out there for the entire state and say it's banned throughout the state. So
I agree. You make good points there. Michigan, we just banned baiting, I think 2 seasons ago, I believe it was. Fully. I think you can bait still in some particular counties in the UP, I believe. So my take on it is, I grew up a bait hunter, and you probably did as well for a while. But for the last, I would say, I don't know how many years, but for a little while, I have not baited, and obviously you can't the last couple years because of the baiting ban. But I've embraced it. There's not one time I'm like, man, I really want to throw some bait down. Like, I haven't had that feeling yet. So there's just, I think I find it a more unique way to be able to put in like a food plot, and then people are like, oh, it's the same as baiting. Well, yes and no. And so
then don't plant corn or alfalfa or soybeans.
Right. I just think it's cool to be able to, give back to, previously what we talked about, giving back to the wildlife and the environment and the property, like, maybe planting some apple trees or pear trees, or, some pine trees or acorns or oak trees, stuff like that. Like taking the opportunity to be able to do that to help the environment, like is like that helps too, So,
I agree.
But I do agree with like making it a select county because up in the UP, like you talked, like it's tough sledding up there. Like right now they still have a lot of snow, and we haven't had snow down here in I don't know how long,
Weeks.
a while,
Yeah, a month.
like just an hour north of us here, around Higgins Lake, they still have a little bit of snow up there, quite a bit actually. That's just an hour north of us. So, I agree. I mean, helping out a little bit, but I truly feel like if you want to ban baiting, like Michigan has a bait ban, like you cannot bait, but every gas station that you drive into in Michigan, during the fall has corn, has sugar beets, or has apples, or any bait shop. If you want to ban it and like get rid of it altogether, like you have to ban people from selling it and it's hard to do that because there's a lot of sugar beet farmers, and they make a livelihood on selling sugar beets to probably convenience stores or gas stations. And I know a lot of bait shops or archery shops around here. Like when the bait ban went in,
they're hurting.
It hurt them by a lot, because they bank on a lot of that revenue. So, baiting ban's one thing, but I think if you really want to enforce it, you really have to figure out a way to, and it's like taking away drugs or marijuana, or something. People are guns. Like people are going to find it. People are going to get it some way. So you're not going to be able to do it, full 100%, but I think that's a way that you're going to have to really try to knock it down as much as you can, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it takes away the urge for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a guy heading out to the woods for the night who's going to grab some chips or crackers or pop on the way out there. Aaron's still pop free.
I am 3 months. Boom. 3.5 months pop free. Let's go.
Let's go.
I wanted one today though.
And you resisted.
I did.
But that guy who stops to grab that and sees corn is like, just taking that away. I would agree with that. So my only thing is like, I just think of up north where they get 4 feet of snow. I know I was driving back to Wisconsin one time this winter with my girlfriend Christy, and we were, driving on 2 up in the UP, and all of a sudden see like 6 deer and 3 feet of snow just struggling to even move. And I'm like, how many calories are they burning? They need food. Where are they going to find food in 3 or 4 feet of snow? And I know that they will find it naturally. They'll work for it, but it's like, I don't think there's a problem with giving them a little break once in a while, especially since up there they're dealing with wolves. So.
Yep. And I guess the last one I have wrote down, and this one's kind of a neat one. It's not actually about whitetails. This one is establishing a spring bear season. So right now, you guys have a fall bear season, just like Michigan. So this would be establishing a spring bear season. So what's your take, and why do they want to do this?
I can honestly say I've never been on a true bear hunt, especially in Wisconsin. But I think it's kind of a cool idea. I know when I was living out in Colorado for a while, people always, and they don't have a spring season either, but just people that I met through work and other things out there got super excited about a spring bear season. I mean, it's like a turkey season for people here. So, their push behind it is just to ease up the pressure during the fall season, thinking that they can split some of the people going out during the spring, and then that way, you don't have every single bear tag from the state being used in the fall, and there's a ton of pressure going on in the woods. So for me, I said yes. I think it's a cool idea. Again, I've never been bear hunting in Wisconsin, so I don't know all the logistics and everything on it. I've never even seen a bear in the spring or the fall near where I live, but I still think it sounds kind of like a cool idea. In their notes too, they say it would prevent, or it would allow hunters opportunities where they would be able to utilize spot and stock and other things like that. The fur is supposed to be better quality in the spring when they come out. They'd obviously still make it illegal to shoot a sow or a cub or a sow with a cub. So still taking those types of precautionary measures. So I don't see why not. I think it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And I don't know bear numbers, like how many, what your herd is. I don't even know what the herd is here in Michigan. But I agree. Like the springtime, I love the springtime for the fact that we're coming off of the last 4 months of hell. The 4 months of just like grueling winter that, we really don't care. We want to be back outside.
Yeah.
And turkey season's usually kicking in, and spring bear hunting is just a lot of fun. A Michigan bear is one thing. It's on my bucket list. I have 11 points built up, so I've been waiting 11 years to go on a hunt for the unit I want to go in, and it's happened the last couple of years, one thing or another, whether we're going on dropped or, whitetail season or something in September, because usually that's when Michigan's, bear season starts, so I haven't been able to go, but, in the spring, it's kind of slower for us, doing what we're doing, other than, a lot of editing, but spring, I could get away and actually go do that then, so I'd really like that opportunity in spring here in Michigan. So I think that'd be pretty cool. But like I said, I don't know numbers to be able to, maybe Michigan hasn't done that because of, sustaining the numbers for 2 seasons. That might not work out well.
Right.
It might decimate the bear population. I don't know. So I totally understand where they're coming from. But I think it'd be cool to open that up as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that they'd have some way where, say they have 100 tags right now, maybe they do 30 of them in the spring and 70 remain in the fall or something like that.
Yeah.
They'll still, I would imagine they would still do it that way. So.
For sure. Well, cool. That's the last thing I have, topics that I want to talk about. Did you have any other ones that you really wanted to hit on?
I don't think so. I think you covered most of them. Like I said, if you are from Wisconsin, I would just encourage you to, if they end up having them in person, you can go out and, say how you feel, state your opinion, be part of the discussion, then do it, or go online and leave some feedback, because that's the only way that they'll know. And I've seen it before. It's like, if you don't do that, then don't complain if changes do get made. So,
yeah. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. Go there and let your voice be heard as well, or just listen and just kind of educate yourself. I do have some numbers here though that I did actually take some notes on, just for people that might be interested. So these are numbers, right now it's March, March 22nd or 23rd, something like that, 2020. So, this podcast is going to live somewhere for a long time. So when you're hearing these numbers, this is, based on the last, couple years, and this is when I took the numbers. So DNR records show total gun deer license sales dropped nearly 16% between 1994 and this last year. Sales to Wisconsin residents have dropped nearly by 20% over that span. So I feel like, I don't want to see any drops in any numbers really, but I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like that's not, it's a lot, but I feel like on the other hand, it's not a lot, because you're talking from 1994 to now. That's a long time. It's a big span.
right.
But I could be wrong. I could be reading that wrong, and I could be like taking that wrong. I don't know. So, but I don't like any decrease in numbers, especially when it comes to whitetail hunting and license sales. So,
Right.
Next one is hunters across all seasons, including the archery, bow, and firearm seasons, killed nearly 50,000 fewer deer in 2019 than in 2018, and that's a 14% decrease. The November gun season, it is unreal. The November gun season saw the steepest drop-off. Hunters killed 168,091 deer in 2019, down 23.5% from 219,715 in 2018. Did I make those numbers sound right?
Yeah.
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 So it's
It's a big
down.
difference.
It's down 23.5% from 2018.
Yeah, and I mean that's just kind of what I was telling you. And again, there, you know, I realize that there may be somebody in a different part of the state, different county, whatever, that is having a completely different experience. I'm solely saying this based on my experience, my mom, my friends, my brother, people, my cousins, aunts, uncles, the people that I talk to, around gun season. But I would say bow as well. It just seems like you're seeing fewer and fewer deer. Like I remember when I started gun hunting, I had this old box blind, and I would take a Sharpie with me, and I would draw a little box and write 1 through 9, and then each day I would write how many deer I saw, how many were bucks, how many were does. And I remember, being 16 years old, and you would see 60 some deer on opening day. And not like, 2 years ago, I think I saw 3 right at the last light. Last year, I don't think I saw a deer on opening day. And this year I saw 6 or 8, and I was pretty happy about it. So there's just, it's, things are different. I know that one of the things that they had talked about this year was it was a later start to the season. It was a wet season, so there are still a lot of crops that are standing, which hold more deer, and those certainly may be true and factor into that. Again, I don't know. I'm not a biologist, so I don't know where the deer herd or the population is in Wisconsin. I think it's still healthy, but I don't think that it's where it used to be. And I know they're saying that it's record numbers. Like we hit over 1 million deer in Wisconsin for the first time. So maybe they're just in closer to cities where they can't be hunted. I don't really know. I don't have an answer to that one, but things certainly seem different. So,
I would have to agree with that here in Michigan as well. Like, I haven't been here to hunt on opening day in a while, so just because we're always on the road filming. But the report that I get from our camp and my wife and my father-in-law that are all hunting, rifle season, opening day and everything, is it's slow. But I think the thing I have to say about that is I think gun hunting is a kind of a generational thing. And, I feel like a lot of our generation and younger, is a lot of archery first hunters. So you're getting a lot more archery hunters. Like back in the day, my dad didn't start bow hunting until he was like 19 or 20. Even start. Like I started when I was 12, and I would have started earlier if I could have, if the law would have let me. So I think a lot of generational things. So with that being said, is like, I think a lot of the younger generation and like us and younger and even a little bit older, I would say probably from, maybe 45 years old and younger, are pretty diehard bow hunters. So I think a lot more people are getting out during October and November with a bow, and probably the harvest numbers for bow hunting are probably getting higher than they were back when we were kids. Like when we saw, like you said, you saw 60 deer on opening day. Like I remember seeing 30 deer before noon, on opening day, so I think that has a big thing to do with it. And the numbers might tell me different, but not knowing the numbers and just kind of taking my general opinion from what I see, that's kind of what I see. And I think that's something to do with it.
Yeah. I'm looking at Wisconsin's right now, deer harvest, weapon type, bow, and this only goes back to 2006, 2007, but you see a little bit of a uptick 2009, 10, 11, 12, and then from 2013 to 2019 seeing a steady decrease in total harvests with a bow. So
with a bow, okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So I know that I had a different conversation with one of my buddies who's probably definitely a lot more qualified to talk about some of this stuff than me, and my opinions are only opinions, and I know I don't have an answer for it, but I guess for me the data isn't matching up with not even a narrative, but what's being said to me. So or it doesn't seem to be. And I don't know what the cause for that is. You know, I make hypotheses like you just did too, where you think that more people are harvesting with a bow than with a gun, and then I look at the data and it doesn't say that. And I just don't understand it. So
maybe I need to get a biologist on here and talk about it.
There you go. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. I might get that in the works here soon.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I know it's getting late here, and I know we both have to work from home tomorrow, so.
Yeah. Fun.
Yeah. Hopefully everybody out there staying healthy and staying away from, like, every time I hear through the grapevine, there's a ton of people at Meijer or Walmart, and it's like, what are you doing there? Like, literally stay away for 2 weeks, and I feel like this stuff's going to go away. I did not go outside of my house maybe once today, and I haven't left my house in a while, so it's not like I'm not overreacting, but I'm just ready for this to be over. So if we could all just hold off for a little bit and hunker down, I think it'll all pass.
Yeah. Go watch some YouTube and Netflix and Hulu and
speaking of YouTube,
you gotta do.
Speaking of YouTube, go watch all of our content on Kiefer Brothers _Humanimal YouTube.
Yes.
The series 19 is going on right now. We're getting ready to upload a couple more episodes this week. So
cool. The only other thing I had, Aaron, that I actually saw today was they did a simulation of the NCAA tournament. Did you see who happened to win that?
No, I didn't. I don't know if I want to know who won it.
The Wisconsin Badgers.
No, false. Get out of here.
Yep.
There's no way.
Yep.
No way.
So, national champs 2020.
No, that is a false statement. You know someone from Wisconsin fabricated that and sent it out like they were the NCAA.
I don't know. I just saw it as a headline, so.
Well, that's too bad. Who did they beat in the finals?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll get a banner for that one, though.
Oh. Well, good deal. You hang your hat on that one, all right?
Yeah, I will.
All right, man. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for coming on and doing this, and have fun tomorrow in your home office.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Again, it's always fun.
Yeah, no problem, man. And that's a wrap on that one. Thank you to Keegan for coming on and doing this. I appreciate him doing that. I mean, we went through a lot of these things, and like I said, it was a lot of opinion based on what we think. But, you know, if you guys do live in Wisconsin and hunt in Wisconsin, you know, let your voice be heard on some of these things if you are passionate about it. You know, right now with this whole coronavirus thing, I don't know if you're going to be able to go to the meeting, but I believe you have to look it up. I can't remember, but I think I read that they were going to do an online meeting so everybody can still like log in and see it online. So go check that out and let your voice be heard. I mean, some of these are just kind of out there. I really wouldn't want some of these, but some of them I do get. So check them out. And I mean, thank you guys for listening. Again, leave some ratings, leave some reviews on iTunes. I appreciate it. And we'll be right back here next week on the Fall Podcast.